Okay, we are back with part 2 of the Notadumble build, back in my studio, if you can call it that. And we're going to play through this thing. I've not turned this on, I've not tested it before this video, so if this fails, it's going to fail on camera. I'm hoping that it doesn't. So basically, it has two sections. There's a clean section and a dirt section. Let me switch my view here so that you can see the actual pedal. That would be nice. Alright, so clean section, dirt section. The way Josh Scott described this is the clean section is actually a replication of a box that Dumble made for John Mayer, or he had loaned to John Mayer, and it was called a box later. And I guess the circuit was just kind of a sweetening circuit. It was just kind of used to elevate your tone. And John Mayer let Josh Scott borrow it, and Josh Scott reverse engineered it. And he could explain this better than me, so here we go.
The very first section, the clean section of the Notadumble, is extremely special when it comes to Dumble style pedals. This is a unit that John Mayer had at a rehearsal, and he loaned it to me to reverse engineer it. It's called a box later. It's something that Howard Dumble made that wasn't an amp, and it was used as an effects loop inserter or a JFET clean boost. It's really cool. I cloned it, made the box it later, and you've seen this on John Mayer's boards for years and years. So that's exactly what this clean section is.
So getting back to it, let's turn this thing on and see if it actually works. My signal chain real quick is pretty simple today, so I'm going right now through from my American Strat to the Notadumble, and out of it into an ISP decimator. And then out of the ISP decimator into Universal Audio Dream 65. That's my amplifier, and that goes straight into my DAW. I do have a Flint after the Dream 65, but I'm not using it right now. I just was too lazy to disconnect it. I do use that Flint with my Lion because the Lion emulates a Plexi Marshall, and the Plexi Marshall didn't have built-in reverb, and I like reverb. So basically my clean sound, if you could call it that. So we're going to turn this pedal on and see what this clean does. I've got the knob sitting at noon each, so let's see. Okay, so we basically on this only have an input and output, so I'm going to sweep the input. So it seems to me like on the lower side of things it actually sounds better to my ear. Kind of gets a little Alright, let's sweep the output and see what that does. So that's basically volume. It's not bad. It's kind of a nice boost. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of going through a tape deck, like a Space Echo, where you have that tape saturation. The Strymon Deco also gives you that as well. They used to, kind of peg the needles in the red, and it added this really nice saturation. If you have a Boss RE202 Space Echo, the digital version, it also has that preamp in it as well. I do have a video where I play through my actual RE150 Space Echo, and the preamp on that is just, it's gold. But this is a very subtle effect, and I'm not exactly sure where it would go in the signal chain, whether it would go after your dirt or, kind of before it isn't always on. We'd have to experiment with that. So let's move up to the drive channel and see what we got. Let's turn the volume up. Okay, so we've got drive. I can't read it. It is the EQ. So let's sweep the EQ. I'm gonna go from 0. Okay, that's the dark side. And then I'm gonna assume that it brightens as you turn it clockwise. See how many. We'll turn it all the way up. Drive off just a little bit. Cleans up with the volume too, which is nice. Yeah, that's not bad. Let's get that hum out of there. See my decimator? Yeah, it's on. Okay. A lot of electronics in this tiny room, so hum is inevitable. good effect. I think it'd pair nicely with some other things. I think you could probably put it before your main drive. That does what it's advertised. It definitely kind of gives your sound just a tad bit of lift on that clean channel. It's a pretty decent drive on the drive channel too. Let's try it with some humbuckers. I will be right back. I am back. This is a new acquisition. I've been after one of these since I was in high school in the 80s. It's an Ibanez Destroyer, and this one is just absolutely gorgeous. Let's go back to the clean. Need to roll the volume back a little bit, but it does pretty good clean. Let's turn the pedal off. So that's stock. And to be honest with you, if you're recording or you're in a mix, you want your clean not to be super clean anyway, because it'll get lost. You want it to have a little bit of grit. Let's flip it up and see what the dirt channel sounds like. Ooh, yeah. Okay, there is a trim pot on the bottom of this that is supposed to allow you to adjust your presence. So let me see if I can turn that up. Let's see what that sounds like. I just turned it all the way up. Yeah, I kind of like that. I'm going to back that off just a little bit. Okay, yeah, definitely. Turning that presence up a lot makes a big difference in the sound in this pedal. I've got it almost all the way up, and then I backed it down. I had played something when I first turned it up, and it turned out to be a complete shit show. So I'm gonna cut that out of the final tape because I'm a big believer of leaving your mistakes in, but when you completely fuck up a song like that, you don't want to do that. So, good news is I probably will never get a copyright strike because the AI is not going to recognize that as any song that was ever recorded out there. So, there's that. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to go grab the single coil again because I want to see how it sounds now that I've turned that presence pot on the circuit board up. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that presence only affects the dirt channel, so... Yeah, that does sound better. So yeah, I think it's a great concept. And I got to commend JHS for you know, it's a stroke of marketing genius to come up with these little put together kits like this. Is it a gimmick? Kind of, yeah. I think in this one though, like he's giving you a circuit that basically doesn't exist. That a box it later circuit. As far as I know, you know, he made, when he reverse engineered that circuit for John Mayer, and he made that box for him, and I think he's got the only one. So for $119, everybody's got it now, you know, and that's kind of cool. I can't say anything bad about this one. I might grab the Notaclon. Like I said, that was the first one they put out, and I just didn't jump on it. I don't know why. I have a lot of Centaur clones, and that one just didn't like speak to me when they were, you know, when they brought it up. So, but I might grab one, see how it compares. You know, I've got Warm Audio Centavo, and I've got the Ryra, you know, clone. I've got the Crazy Tube Circuits, you know, with the Klon in that. It's called the Unobtainium. It's got, you know, like a Dumble-esque circuit on one side and a clone on the other. And I have one that's like one of 30 that was made for a music store that I frequent in San Antonio. I don't know who the builder was, but they had this run of 30. It's called the Fat Horsey. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I might have to build that one and see how it stacks up with the other clones. Can't really, you know, compare it to a real Klon Centaur because I'm just not willing to spend that kind of money on a guitar pedal. So anyway, that is it. I appreciate everybody watching, and you know, I hope that the first part of the video where I put this thing together, you could see me kind of, you know, having to figure out a couple of things. So I hope that kind of helps other people that might, you know, be wanting to put one of these kits together. But hope everybody has a great day, evening, wherever you are in the world, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks again for watching.